This title is presented to you by Soundlibra.com. For more audiobooks like this, click the link in the description or visit our website at Soundlibra.com. Welcome to the Wisdom Collector. Today we begin.
Hello, and welcome. I'm Lisa, and this is Alex. Just a quick heads up before we get started. While we're talking about mental growth and wellness, remember this is for educational purposes and isn't professional medical or mental health advice.
That's right. Always consult with a professional for your specific needs. Now, back to why we're here. This series is about actively gathering insights, not just passively acquiring knowledge. Wisdom isn't simply knowing things. It's understanding, applying, and growing from our experiences. It's the art of living well, informed by what life teaches us.
That's a crucial distinction, Alex. Often we think knowledge and wisdom are the same. You can read many books, but if you don't understand or apply what you've read, it's just information.
Precisely. Knowledge is like a toolbox full of tools. Wisdom is knowing which tool to use for which job, and how to use it effectively to build something meaningful. It's the skillful application of understanding.
I love that analogy. So, for our listeners, how do we begin this process? Where does this journey start?
It starts with intent. It begins with a conscious decision to pay attention. Most of us go through life on autopilot. The first step is to shift from passive observer to active collector. It's about developing an intentional curiosity about life.
Intentional curiosity. So, it's not just what happens to us, but how we choose to engage with it.
Exactly. It's about asking why more often. Why did that situation unfold that way? What did I learn? What could I have done differently? These questions are the foundations of collecting wisdom. They dig into the rich soil of our experiences.
This sounds like it requires a mindset willing to reflect, even on difficult moments. It's easy to celebrate successes, but wisdom often comes from navigating challenges, isn't it?
Absolutely. Failure, setbacks, misunderstandings, these are potent teachers. But they only teach if we're willing to learn. If we just brush them off, we miss the profound lessons. The wisdom collector doesn't shy away. They lean in and examine them.
So, we are talking about a continuous process. It's like tending a garden. You plant seeds, you nurture, you harvest.
A beautiful parallel, Lisa, and just like a garden requires different conditions for different plants, wisdom can be cultivated in various ways. In the upcoming episodes, we'll explore many of these methods. We'll talk about learning from elders, exploring different cultures, the power of observation, and the incredible utility of journaling.
Journaling. I can see how that ties in. Recording those insights would be so helpful in making them tangible, wouldn't it? Otherwise, they can just float away.
Precisely. When you write something down, you solidify it. You give it a form. It becomes an artifact in your personal library of wisdom. And that's what we're building over this series. Your own personal library of wisdom. Each episode will add a new section, a new way to gather and organize your unique collection.
So, to recap our first episode, we're introducing the concept of becoming a wisdom collector. This isn't just about accumulating knowledge, it's about actively gathering life's lessons through intentional curiosity and reflection. The journey starts with a conscious decision to pay attention and to learn from all our experiences, including the challenging ones.
That's a perfect summary, Lisa. We're not just readers of life's book. We're becoming its diligent annotators and its wise archivists. The seed of wisdom is planted with intent, and its growth is cultivated through our conscious engagement with the world around us and within us.
And we'll be sharing practical techniques for nurturing that growth in the episodes to come. This is about making wisdom a tangible, accessible part of your everyday life.
We encourage you to start today. Ask yourself one why question about something you encountered today. Just one. Notice what happens. That's your first act of wisdom collection.
A simple, powerful first step. So, remember that the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, and the collection of a lifetime of wisdom begins with a single, intentional moment of awareness.
And with that, we'll conclude episode 1. Thank you for joining us on this foundational step.
Join us next time as we delve deeper into the rich echoes of the past, exploring how to learn from those who have walked the path before us. Next episode, The Elder's Echo.
Welcome back to the Wisdom Collector. Last time we planted the seeds. Now, let's listen to the Elder's Echo.
It's so easy to think of wisdom as only what we discover ourselves, but so much of it comes from those who came before us. Elders are parents, grandparents, mentors, community leaders. They are living libraries. Their experiences offer a roadmap.
Absolutely, Lisa. Think of it this way. If you're navigating a complex city, you'd ask someone who has lived there for decades. Elders are the seasoned navigators of life. Their echoes are the stories and lessons they carry.
And how do we best tap into that? Sometimes there can be a disconnect, right? Ages apart, different life experiences. It's not always as simple as just asking a question.
You've hit on a crucial point. The first step is to approach with genuine curiosity and respect. Elders have a wealth of knowledge, but it's often tied to their personal journeys. So, instead of demanding answers, we need to invite them to share. We can start by asking open-ended questions about their younger years, their challenges, and what they learned. Imagine asking your grandparent, what's one of the biggest surprises you faced when you first started your career? Or what advice would you give your younger self knowing what you know now?
That's a great way to frame it. It makes it less of an interrogation and more of a conversation. It's about their lived experience, their personal narrative. It's not just factual information they possess, but wisdom gained through feeling, doing, and enduring.
Exactly. And the echo part is important. Wisdom isn't static. It's passed down and transformed. An elder's advice might not be a direct instruction for your exact situation, but it's a principle, a perspective, a warning, or an encouragement that resonates. You have to listen for that echo and translate it into your own context. It's like hearing a melody from the past and adapting it into a new song.
So, it's not about copying their past, but understanding the underlying principles that guided them. For instance, if my grandmother always talked about the importance of saving a little from every paycheck, that's an echo of financial prudence. I might not use an old-fashioned piggy bank, but I can apply that principle by setting up an automatic savings transfer from my checking account.
Perfect analogy, Lisa. You've identified the core lesson, financial discipline, and translated it into a modern practice. This is where the magic happens, where the elder's echo becomes your own wisdom. And to do this effectively, active listening is paramount. Put away distractions, maintain eye contact, and truly absorb what they're saying. Sometimes the most profound wisdom is found in the pauses, the unspoken emotions, the way a story is told.
And sometimes the generational gap can feel like a barrier. Our world is so different today: technology, pace of life, social norms. How do we bridge that?
That's a challenge many face. I find it helpful to acknowledge that difference, rather than ignore it. You can say something like, Grandma, I know things were very different when you were my age, but I'm really curious about how you handled X. By acknowledging the gap, you show respect for their experience while also opening the door to understand how they navigated their realities. Another tactic is to find common ground. What are the universal human experiences that haven't changed? Love, loss, ambition, the need for connection? Focusing on these shared threads can build bridges.
That makes sense. It's about finding the shared humanity beneath the different circumstances. And sometimes, the elder's wisdom might seem outdated or unconventional to our modern ears. What do we do then?
That's when we employ critical thinking, but with a generous spirit. Don't dismiss it outright. Try to understand why they believe that. What experiences led them to that conclusion? Perhaps there's a kernel of truth a cautionary tale, or a perspective we haven't considered. After you understand their viewpoint, you can then evaluate if and how it applies to your life. It's not about blind acceptance. It's about informed consideration. Remember, their wisdom was forged in a different fire.
So, to recap for our listeners, to tap into the wisdom of elders, we should approach with genuine curiosity and respect, ask open ended questions about their lived experiences, and listen actively for the underlying principles. We then translate these principles into our own lives, adapting their wisdom to our modern context. It's about finding common ground, acknowledging generational differences respectfully, and considering their advice with an open, yet critical, mind.
Beautifully summarized, Lisa. And the beauty of this is that it's a reciprocal relationship. When we show genuine interest, elders feel valued, and often they are more willing to share. It's a way of honoring their legacy and ensuring their wisdom continues to ripple outwards. They become our personal mentors, our living history books.
It's like they've already walked the path and are marking the stones for us. We just have to be willing to look down and see where they've been placed.
Precisely. And this isn't just limited to immediate family or close mentors. It can be about observing and listening to respected figures in your community, historical figures whose biographies offer lessons, or even fictional characters who embody certain virtues. The elder can be a broader concept than we sometimes think.
That's a great point. It expands the idea beyond just chronological age. It's about those who have accumulated experience and can offer guidance.
Indeed. So, your homework is to actively seek out those elder echoes in your life. Have a conversation with someone older than you this week. Ask them about a time they faced a significant challenge and what they learned. Listen, reflect, see what wisdom resonates.
A wonderful challenge. It's about being a conscious collector of wisdom, not just from books or online, but from the people who have lived it.
Exactly. Next time on The Wisdom Collector, we'll be turning our gaze inward to explore the library within. We'll discover how to tap into our own inner repository of knowledge and understanding. Next episode, The Library Within. Welcome back to The Wisdom Collector. Last time, we explored the ancient echoes of wisdom passed down through generations. Today, we're discussing the wisdom found in books.
Ah, books. I always feel a sense of calm and anticipation when I walk into a library or see a well-stocked bookshelf. It's like a promise of new worlds and new understanding.
Exactly. And for the wisdom collector, books are not just for entertainment. They are a fundamental tool for gathering wisdom. Think of libraries and personal bookshelves as vast repositories of human experience and thought. Every book is a condensed journey, a distillation of an author's insights.
So, it's not just about reading a lot, but reading with a purpose. What kind of purpose are we talking about here, Alex?
We're talking about reading for wisdom, not just information. Information tells you what happened. Wisdom helps you understand why it matters, how it applies to your own life, and how to make better decisions. It's about extracting the essence, the core lessons from the knowledge presented.
That makes sense. Sometimes I finish a book and I can recall facts, but I struggle to say what the big takeaway was for me personally.
That's common. To actively collect wisdom from books, we need to be active readers. This means engaging with the text, not just passively letting the words wash over you. It's about asking questions as you read. Ask yourself, what is the author really trying to say? What problem are they trying to solve? What is their core argument?
So, it's like having a conversation with the author in your head?
A very dynamic conversation. And part of that conversation involves understanding the different kinds of wisdom you can find. Consider the genres. History books, for instance, offer wisdom by showing U.S. patterns of human behavior and the consequences of actions. They teach us valuable lessons about what to repeat and what to avoid.
like learning from past mistakes without having to make them ourselves.
Precisely. Then you have philosophy. Philosophy books grapple with fundamental questions about life, ethics, and existence. They challenge us to think deeply about our values and our place in the world, providing frameworks for understanding complex moral dilemmas.
And fiction? Sometimes people underestimate the wisdom found in novels and stories.
Fiction is incredibly powerful for wisdom collection. Through characters and their journeys, we experience different perspectives, develop empathy, and explore the nuances of human emotion and motivation. A well-crafted story can teach you as much about human nature as any nonfiction account. You can live 1,000 lives through the pages of a book, learning about resilience, love, loss, and courage.
That's a fantastic way to put it, living 1,000 lives. So, we're reading actively, looking for wisdom across different genres. What's the next step in extracting those core lessons?
It's about identifying the author's key insights and making them your own. Many authors will articulate their main points clearly. Look for sentences that feel particularly profound or impactful. Often, these are summarized statements that condense a lot of thought.
I've noticed some books have introductions or conclusions that really nail down the author's message.
Absolutely. And don't shy away from rereading passages that resonate. When you find a gem of wisdom, pause. Ask yourself, how does this apply to my life right now? Can I think of a specific situation where this insight would have been helpful? This is where the active extraction happens. It's like mining for gold. You're sifting through the material to find the precious nuggets.
And I suppose it's not always about agreement. Sometimes, even disagreeing with an author can lead to wisdom, right? By understanding why you disagree, you clarify your own beliefs.
That's an excellent point, Lisa. Critical thinking is vital. Challenging assumptions, both the author's and your own, deepens your understanding. It's about intellectual jujitsu, using the author's ideas to strengthen your own intellectual framework.
So, to recap for our listeners, we're treating books as libraries of wisdom, not just sources of facts. We need to be active readers, engaging with the text by asking critical questions. We can find wisdom in various genres history, philosophy, and especially fiction, which allows us to experience different lives and perspectives. And the key is to extract the author's core insights and personally apply them, even questioning them to clarify our own beliefs.
Exactly. And the next step in truly collecting this wisdom is to make it tangible. We need to move beyond just understanding in our minds. We need to record our findings because our memories are fallible, and a well-annotated book or a dedicated notebook can become a powerful personal reference for wisdom over time. This brings us to our next topic, the tangible act of capturing these insights.
Building on the idea of internalizing wisdom, we need a way to store it so we can access it later.
Precisely. It's about turning passive consumption into active collection and ongoing access. We'll explore the crucible of failure, discussing how even our setbacks can be profound teachers.
Failing can be tough, but I'm sure there's wisdom to be found there. I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. Thanks for listening. Welcome back to the Wisdom Collector. Last time, we explored the vast library within, internalizing lessons we encounter. Today, we step into the crucible of failure.
The crucible of failure. That sounds intense, Alex. Many of us shy away from failure, let alone stepping into a crucible of it.
And that's precisely why it's such a powerful topic. We often see failure as the end of the road, a mark of inadequacy. But what if we reframed it as a potent teacher, perhaps even one of the most effective teachers we'll ever have?
A teacher? I usually associate teachers with knowledge and success. Failure feels like the opposite.
Think about it, Lisa. When do we truly learn the most profound lessons? Is it when everything goes perfectly, or is it when something unexpected happens, when we stumble, when we miss the mark? It's in those moments of struggle that we're forced to reevaluate, to understand what went wrong, and to find a new way forward.
I suppose you're right. When I've learned to bake that tricky sourdough, it wasn't after the first perfect loaf, it was after several dents, flat, or burnt disasters. I had to figure out what I was doing wrong with the starter, the proofing, the temperature.
Exactly. Those weren't just meals gone wrong. They were lessons in precision, observation, and patience. Each failed loaf provided clues. Failure is often a highly personalized lesson plan. It highlights your specific blind spots, your assumptions that weren't quite right, your areas that need more attention. It's a mirror reflecting back exactly where you need to grow.
So, it's not about being inherently bad at baking, but about identifying the specific variables that led to the less than ideal outcome.
Precisely. And the key to transforming failure into wisdom is our response to it. If we simply despair, blame others, or give up, the lesson is lost. But if we pause, reflect, and ask ourselves, what can I learn from this? We unlock its potential. This is where the crucible comes in. A crucible is a vessel used for melting and heating substances to very high temperatures. When we put ourselves in the crucible of failure, we're subjecting our assumptions and approaches to intense scrutiny, forging new understanding under pressure.
That's a powerful image. So, how do we actively engage with this forging process? What are the steps to turning a setback into a significant lesson?
The first crucial step is reframing our perspective. Instead of thinking, I failed, try thinking this approach didn't work, and here's why. It shifts the focus from personal inadequacy to a solvable problem. Another vital step is objective analysis. After the initial sting of disappointment, try to be as unemotional as possible. What were the contributing factors? Were there external circumstances, or was it primarily a result of your actions or decisions?
That can be hard. It's easy to get caught up in the emotional fallout of a failure.
It absolutely is. And acknowledging those emotions is important. Briefly allowing yourself to feel the disappointment, the frustration, is natural. But then we need to move past it. We can borrow a technique from problem solving, the 5 whys. You ask why at least 5 times to get to the root cause of a problem. For example, if a project deadline was missed, you might ask, why was the deadline missed? Because we ran over schedule. Why do we run over schedule? Because a key component took longer than expected. Why did that component take longer? Because we underestimated the complexity. Why did we underestimate the complexity? Because we didn't do enough upfront research. Why didn't we do enough upfront research? Because we were rushing to start. See how you get to a deeper understanding with that chain of questioning?
That's very insightful. It pushes you beyond the surface level reason and into the underlying issues. It's like peeling back layers of an onion.
Exactly. And once you understand the root cause, the next step is to extract the specific lesson. What concrete knowledge or insight did this failure provide? What do you know now that you didn't know before? This could be about project management, interpersonal dynamics, a technical skill, or even self-awareness.
So we identify the cause and then articulate the resulting knowledge. Then what? Do we just mentally file it away?
Not quite. To truly integrate this wisdom, we need to consider how we'll apply it. This involves developing a new strategy or making a change in our approach for the future. If the complexity was underestimated, the lesson is to build in more research time next time. If a communication breakdown caused an issue, the lesson is to implement clearer communication protocols. This is transforming the raw material of failure into a tool for future success. It's about creating actionable insights.
This makes failure feel less like a dead end and more like a detour that provides valuable information for the rest of the journey.
Precisely. And remember our previous episodes? This directly connects to the journal's embrace. Documenting these failures, the analysis, and the lessons learned creates a tangible record. It's not just about remembering, it's about creating a reference point for yourself. When you face a similar situation, you can consult your journal and see, ah, I encountered this before. Here's what I learned, and here's how I adapted. That's how wisdom truly compounds.
So, the journal acts as our personal archive of lessons learned from the Crucible.
Exactly. And it's important to emphasize that significant or repeated failures are often the most potent teachers. While small stumbles teach us things, major setbacks force a more radical reassessment and often lead to more profound shifts in perspective and behavior. Think of the great inventors or entrepreneurs. Their paths were littered with what, at the time, looked like colossal failures. But they didn't let those defeats define them. They let them refine them. They understood that failure is not the opposite of success, but a stepping stone on the path to it.
It's about resilience, then. The ability to bounce back, but not just to where you were, but to a higher, more informed place.
Resilience is a huge part of it. It's the courage to get back up, dust yourself off, and try again, armed with new knowledge. It's about learning to be comfortable with discomfort, because growth often happens when we're outside our comfort zone, and failure is a frequent visitor there. Another key aspect is seeking feedback. Sometimes we can be too close to our own failures to see them clearly. Discussing a situation with a trusted friend, colleague, or mentor can provide invaluable external perspectives that highlight lessons we might have missed.
So, to recap, we learn from failure by first reframing it as a learning opportunity, not a personal indictment. Then, we conduct an objective analysis, perhaps using the 5 whys to find root causes. Following that, we articulate the specific lesson learned, and finally, we develop a concrete plan to apply that lesson going forward. And this process is even more effective when documented, perhaps in our journals, and when we seek feedback from others.
You've captured it perfectly, Lisa. We've been discussing how failure, when approached with intentionality, becomes a powerful forge for wisdom. It's the moments of struggle, the missteps, and the outright setbacks that, if we allow them to shape us into more knowledgeable, resilient, and ultimately wiser individuals. By reframing failure, analyzing it dispassionately, extracting the core lesson, and committing to a new course of action, we transform a potentially negative experience into a source of profound growth.
It's a challenging but incredibly rewarding path. It makes me look at past difficulties in a completely different light.
And that's the true power of becoming a wisdom collector. We gather it from everywhere, even from the fires of our own missteps. Next time, we'll be transitioning from the challenges of personal growth to the richness of the world around us as we explore the tapestry of cultures. Next episode, the tapestry of cultures. Welcome back to the Wisdom Collector. Last time, we explored the crucible of failure, learning how mistakes are actually powerful teachers. Now we're stepping into something truly magnificent. Episode 5, The Tapestry of Cultures.
And Alex, I'm so excited about this one. The sheer diversity of human thought and experience across the globe is just mind-boggling. It really does feel like a rich tapestry, doesn't it?
Absolutely, Lisa. And just like a tapestry is woven from many different threads, each of unique color and texture, human wisdom is woven from countless cultural perspectives. Today, we're going to explore how these diverse traditions, philosophies, and even everyday societal norms offer us incredible insights and solutions to life's challenges.
So, for our listeners who might be encountering this idea for the first time, what do we mean by wisdom embedded in cultures?
That's a great starting point. Think about it this way. Every culture, over centuries, has developed its own ways of understanding the world, its own values, its own stories, and its own methods for navigating life. These aren't just random customs. They are often distilled wisdom, tested and refined by generations of people facing similar human experiences: love, loss, work, community, and the search for meaning.
So, it's like each culture has its own unique toolkit for living well?
Exactly. And the incredible thing is, these toolkits are often very different. Consider the concept of community. In some cultures, the individual's needs and aspirations are paramount. In others, the well being and harmony of the collective group, the family, the village, the tribe, come first. Both approaches have their strengths and their challenges, and by understanding them, we can learn a great deal.
That makes sense. So, if we're talking about, say, problem solving, a culture that emphasizes collectivism might approach a community issue very differently than one that emphasizes individualism.
Precisely. A collectivist culture might immediately look for a solution that benefits everyone, perhaps involving shared responsibility and consensus. An individualistic culture might focus on empowering individuals to find their own solutions, perhaps through innovation or self-reliance. Neither is inherently better, but understanding both perspectives can give us a richer palette of options when we face our own problems.
It's like expanding our own personal problem solving toolkit by borrowing from others.
You've got it. And this applies to so many areas. Let's think about traditional healing practices. Many Western societies have a very biomedical approach, focusing on physical symptoms and treatments. But look at the rich traditions of herbalism, acupuncture, or mindfulness practices found in Eastern cultures, for example. These often integrate the mind, body, and spirit in ways that Western medicine is only beginning to explore.
I've heard about that. It's not about rejecting one for the other, but seeing how they can complement each other.
That's the essence of it. It's about appreciating the wisdom in different approaches. Another fascinating area is how different cultures view time. Some cultures have a very linear, task-oriented approach to time. Deadlines are crucial, schedules are rigid. Others have a more fluid, cyclical view of time, where relationships and the present moment are prioritized over strict adherence to schedules.
Oh, I can definitely relate to that. Sometimes that strict, punctual approach can feel exhausting, and other times, that more relaxed approach can lead to missed opportunities. It's about finding a balance.
And that balance might be found by learning from those more fluid cultures. Or if you're from a culture that tends to be more fluid, you might learn from cultures that emphasize punctuality to ensure important tasks get done. It's about recognizing the strengths inherent in different cultural perspectives on time.
So, how do we actually go about tapping into this tapestry of cultures in a meaningful way, Alex? It can feel a bit overwhelming.
That's a very practical question, Lisa, and it leads us to the benefits of cross-cultural understanding. The first step is simply curiosity and openness. When you encounter someone from a different background or learn about a different tradition, approach it with a genuine desire to understand, rather than to judge or compare. Ask questions. Listen actively.
So, not just observing, but actively engaging?
Exactly. Engaging with respect and genuine inquiry. This can happen through travel, of course, but even more practically, through reading books, watching documentaries, engaging in conversations with friends from diverse backgrounds, or even trying out recipes from different cuisines. Food is a fantastic gateway to culture, isn't it?
It really is. And it's a tangible way to experience a different way of life. You mentioned reading and documentaries. What kind of things should we be looking for when we explore other cultures?
When you delve into another culture, look for their foundational stories, their myths, their proverbs. These often contain the deepest reservoirs of their core values and their accumulated wisdom about human nature and the world. Pay attention to their celebrations and rituals. These reveal what a society cherishes and how it marks important life transitions. And don't overlook their art, music, and literature. These are powerful expressions of a culture's soul.
So instead of just seeing different, we start to see the shared human experiences being expressed in unique ways.
Precisely. We start to see the common threads that bind us all. For instance, the theme of the hero's journey, or the concept of the spiritual quest, appears in countless cultures in vastly different forms. But the underlying human desire for growth and transformation is universal. By recognizing these universal themes within diverse expressions, we can gain a profound appreciation for both our shared humanity and the richness of our differences.
It sounds like learning about other cultures can also help us understand our own culture better by seeing it from an outsider's perspective.
That's a profound insight, Lisa, and you've articulated it beautifully. When we step outside our own cultural bubble, we begin to see our own assumptions, our own norms, our own biases for what they are cultural, not necessarily universal truths. This self-awareness is a critical component of wisdom. It allows us to question why we do things the way we do and to choose consciously rather than just follow the script.
It's like holding up a mirror to ourselves, but the mirror is showing us our reflection through the lens of another culture.
A perfect analogy. So, to recap what we've explored today, human wisdom is incredibly diverse, woven from the unique experiences and perspectives of different cultures. Each culture offers valuable insights and solutions, often expressed through their traditions, philosophies, and daily life. By approaching other cultures with curiosity and respect, we can expand our own understanding, discover new ways of navigating challenges, and gain a deeper appreciation for both our shared humanity and our beautiful differences. Embracing this tapestry enriches our own lives and strengthens the collective wisdom we can draw upon.
That's a wonderful summary, Alex. It really goes to show that wisdom isn't a monolithic thing, it's a vast, interconnected network of human insight.
Indeed. And next time, we'll be honing in on one of the most powerful tools for cultivating personal wisdom and understanding our experiences, the art of observation.
Can't wait.
Next episode, the art of observation. Welcome back to the Wisdom Collector. In our last episode, we explored the rich tapestry of cultures and how diverse perspectives broaden our own.
Today, we're shifting our focus inward and outward to a fundamental skill that underpins all learning, the art of observation.
True observation isn't passive. It's an active, intentional process of noticing, understanding, and retaining information from our environment. It's about seeing what others miss to reveal deeper truths, like a detective of everyday life.
So, it's not just about looking, but about interpreting what we see.
Precisely. To interpret, we first gather raw data by engaging all our senses: sight, sound, smell, and even touch. Imagine a bustling market. You see vibrant colors, hear vendor calls, smell enticing aromas, and feel the crowd's energy. All of this builds your understanding.
That connects back to our discussion on cultures, too. Different cultures have distinct sensory experiences and ways of expressing themselves.
Excellent connection. When collecting wisdom, we often observe people. How do they interact? What are they really saying beyond their words? This involves observing body language, facial expressions, tone of voice, and the silences between words.
The nonverbal cues. Someone might say, I'm fine, but their slumped shoulders tell a different story.
Exactly. Developing an observational mindset means consciously practicing to notice these cues. Train yourself to see patterns. How do people communicate under stress versus when relaxed? Do their gestures change? Does their speech quicken?
Are we making assumptions or gathering objective data points?
That's a crucial distinction. Good observation gathers data points. Interpretation comes after. We can form hypotheses, but should be cautious. Observe behavior, then consider what it might mean. For example, someone fidgeting when asked something is a data point. The interpretation could be nervousness, dishonesty, or just a habit. Gather multiple points before concluding.
So, we're not mind readers, but skilled readers of behavior and environment.
Precisely. And this skill extends beyond people to observing the world. Look at nature. A plant growing towards sunlight shows growth and adaptation. Water flowing downhill carving paths illustrates persistence and consistent effort.
It sounds like observation can turn mundane things into lessons.
That's its beauty. It transforms the ordinary. To cultivate this, we need to be present. How often are we truly present, without our minds racing ahead? Being present means giving your full attention to what's happening now, with all senses engaged.
I know I'm guilty of that, often pulled away by my phone.
Me too. Technology challenges our observation. We can consciously choose to disconnect, even briefly, and just be in our environment. Take a walk without your phone. Sit in a park and watch, listen, notice textures. It's mindfulness that enhances observation.
So, the actionable advice is to practice being present, engage our senses, and deliberately look for patterns and cues in people and our surroundings.
That's a great summary. To make this stick, let's cultivate this observational muscle. Try a small, specific observation exercise each day. One day, focus on the different shoes people wear. The next, the colors they wear. It trains your brain to actively scan and categorize.
That's a brilliant exercise. A treasure hunt for everyday details.
Exactly. Another technique is descriptive recall. After observing, mentally reconstruct it in detail. What did you see here? What was the mood? This strengthens your memory of observations and retrieval.
So, after conversation, mentally replay it, noting nonverbal cues.
Yes, and this isn't just memorizing facts. It's internalizing observations for a deeper understanding of human nature and the world. Remember how different cultures have communication styles? Keen observation lets you notice these variations firsthand, like the directness of speech or the use of silence, and understand them.
It's like building a rich, internal database of human behavior and experience.
Precisely. This database builds empathy, nuanced decision-making, and genuine understanding. It allows us to see beyond the surface. Remember, observation isn't passive, it's an active skill. By practicing presence, engaging senses, and looking for patterns, we uncover wisdom hidden in plain sight.
To recap, observation is an active skill engaging all senses. Gather data points before interpreting and note nonverbal cues. Cultivate it by being present, focused observation exercises, and descriptive recall.
You've hit all the key points. Observation is the bedrock of wisdom, letting us see the world not just as it is, but as it could be understood.
I'll be more mindful of what I'm observing.
Fantastic. Next time, we'll delve into a powerful tool for capturing and organizing these observations, the journal.
Thanks for listening.
Welcome back to the Wisdom Collector. Last time, we explored the vital art of observation. Today, we're introducing the first practical tool for collecting wisdom, journaling.
Journaling. It feels so personal, yet so powerful. So, Alex, why is journaling such a foundational tool for a wisdom collector?
Observation is about gathering raw materials. Journaling provides the capture mechanism. It's the archive for your insights.
So, it's like having a personal notebook for your brain's discoveries.
Exactly. But it's more than just a notebook. It's an active tool for understanding. When you write things down, you're engaging with your thoughts and experiences, which helps solidify them as wisdom.
It's turning passive reception into active processing. So, for someone just starting out, what's the best way to begin?
Don't aim for perfection or lengthy prose. Think of it as a conversation with yourself. One simple way to start is by answering a few core questions after significant experiences.
What kind of core questions?
Let's start with what. What happened? Describe the event briefly. Then how? How did it make you feel? Note your emotions.
So, first the objective description, then a subjective feeling. What's next?
Next, we ask why. Why do you think this happened? This is where you start probing for deeper meaning.
Ah, the detective work of wisdom. And after the why, what brings us home?
The most crucial part, the so what. So what did you learn? This is the wisdom itself. And importantly, how might you apply this lesson in the future?
So, to recap, it's what happened? How did I feel? Why did it happen? And the big one, so what did I learn and how can I use it?
Precisely. And you don't need to write a novel. Even a short, regular reflection builds a powerful archive. Remember, we're building a library.
That's a great analogy. But what if someone struggles with finding time? Life gets busy.
Flexibility is key. It can be 5 minutes before bed or a quick voice note. The goal is to weave it into your routine, not create a burden. Think of it as a mental snack.
A mental snack. I like that. And could you give us some specific prompts to jog our memory?
Certainly, when you encounter a wise person, reflect on what made their advice impactful, or what traits did they display that I admire. When you face a challenge, ask yourself, what is this teaching me about my own strengths or weaknesses? Or what alternative approach could I have taken?
Those are fantastic. They encourage deeper thought. And if you have a moment of success, you'd ask, what led to this positive outcome?
You've got it. And for moments of failure, what mistakes were made, and what can I do differently next time? Every experience is a potential teacher.
It sounds like journaling is also about cultivating a habit of self-awareness.
It is. By regularly examining our experiences and reactions, we gain a deeper understanding of ourselves. This self-awareness allows us to be more intentional.
So, by writing down what happened, we start to understand our own internal compass.
Precisely. And this leads us to capturing fleeting thoughts. Have you ever had a brilliant idea only to have it slip away?
Oh, all the time. It's so frustrating.
Journaling acts as a net for those ephemeral insights. Just get the essence down. You can flesh it out later. These quick captures are often the seeds of wisdom.
So, we have the structured approach with the four questions, and then the more spontaneous capturing of brilliant ideas. It seems like there are many ways to embrace this journal's embrace.
There are indeed. The most important thing is to find a method that resonates with you and that you can maintain. Don't get discouraged if you miss a day. The goal is progress, not perfection.
I think that's a really important takeaway. It's not about creating a perfect written record, but about creating a personal space for reflection and growth.
Exactly. And as we move into the next part of our discussion on journaling, we'll explore how to organize these entries and truly leverage your journal as a dynamic tool for accumulating wisdom.
Fantastic. So, to quickly summarize what we've covered today, journaling is our first practical tool for wisdom collection. It acts as an archive and a processing space. We introduced a four-question framework. What happened? How did I feel? Why did it happen? And so what did I learn and how can I apply it? We also emphasized flexibility, quick capture of ideas, and the development of self-awareness.
It's about transforming experience into enduring knowledge, one entry at a time.
Next episode, we'll dive deeper into organizing and revisiting your journal.
Welcome back. Last time we covered the basics of journaling. Now let's tackle analysis.
Absolutely, Alex. Last episode felt like we were gathering all the ingredients. Now, I'm excited to learn how to actually cook with them and create something delicious, something wise. What's our starting point today?
We begin with the art of deep reading, Lisa. Once you have a collection of journal entries, it's time to go back and read them with intention. Think of it like being a detective looking for clues. You're not just rereading words. You're searching for recurring themes, strong emotions, and significant events.
A detective. I like that. So, instead of just reading what happened yesterday, I should be looking for why it happened or how I felt about it repeatedly.
Exactly. One powerful technique is to read through your entries chronologically. As you read, keep a separate piece of paper or a digital note handy. Whenever you notice something that stands out, a particular feeling, a repeating idea, or a consequence that followed a certain action, jot it down. Don't censor yourself, just capture those sparks. This initial pass is about broad observation.
So, I'm looking for patterns without necessarily understanding them yet. Just noting, huh, I felt overwhelmed when this happened, or I noticed I usually procrastinate on Tuesdays.
Precisely. And once you have a collection of these observations, that's when the real analysis begins. This is where we start connecting the dots. Look at your notes. Are there common threads? You might notice that you consistently feel drained after certain types of social interactions, or that you feel energized when you spend time in nature. These are your first insights.
It's like sifting through a treasure chest. You pull out all the shiny things, and then you start organizing them to see what kind of treasure you actually have.
That's a perfect analogy. Now, let's talk about identifying patterns. A recurring theme might be your reaction to deadlines. You might see yourself experiencing intense stress a few days before, a flurry of productivity right before, and then a sense of relief or even exhaustion afterward. This pattern tells you something about your relationship with time and pressure.
And this is where the wisdom starts to form, right? Because knowing this pattern means I can potentially change it, or at least prepare for it better.
Absolutely. Wisdom isn't just knowing what happened. It's understanding the why and the how, and then using that understanding to make better choices in the future. So, for our deadline example, you might realize that the intense stress before is often counterproductive. This realization could lead you to experiment with breaking down tasks earlier, thereby reducing that last-minute pressure. That's applying the wisdom gained from your journal.
This sounds like it requires a bit of honesty with ourselves, doesn't it? We have to be willing to see ourselves, flaws and all.
It does. Self-honesty is crucial. Sometimes, our journals reveal patterns we're not proud of. Perhaps you notice a tendency to be defensive when receiving constructive criticism or a consistent pattern of overcommitting. The journal doesn't judge, it simply reflects. Our role as wisdom collectors is to look at that reflection and decide what we want to change.
So, after identifying a pattern, what's the next step in extracting actionable wisdom?
The next step is to ask probing questions about those patterns. For instance, if you notice you often feel regret after saying yes to too many things, ask yourself, why do I struggle to say no? Is it fear of disappointing others? A desire to be seen as helpful? Understanding the root cause is key to addressing it.
Ah, so it's not just I said yes too much, but why did I say yes? That's digging deeper.
Precisely. You're moving from observation to introspection. Another crucial aspect is looking for the silver lining, even in difficult entries. Even a frustrating experience can teach you resilience, problem-solving skills, or the importance of a particular value. Our journals often contain records of our failures, but these failures are fertile ground for growth.
I remember a difficult project I worked on a few years ago. My journal entries from that time were full of frustration. But rereading them now, I can see how much I learned about managing complex tasks and communicating with a difficult team member. I wouldn't have seen that without going back.
That's a fantastic example, Lisa. You've turned a past challenge into present wisdom through analysis. Now, let's consider how to make this analysis a regular practice. I recommend setting aside dedicated time, perhaps once a week or once a month, to review your recent entries. Consistency is key to building momentum.
So, it's not a one-time deep dive, but a recurring engagement with our own thoughts and experiences.
Exactly. Think of it as tending to a garden. You plant the seeds by writing, and then you regularly nurture them by reviewing and reflecting. This ongoing process helps solidify the lessons learned in your mind. Another powerful method is to look for what we call wisdom anchors. These are concise phrases or lessons that resonate deeply with you, derived from your analysis.
Wisdom anchors, like a personal motto that comes directly from my own life experiences.
Yes, for example, after analyzing several entries about rushing important conversations, your wisdom anchor might become pause before you speak. Or after noticing a pattern of neglecting self-care, it might be recharge before you run empty. These anchors are short, memorable reminders of hard-won lessons.
I can see how having those anchors would be incredibly helpful when you're in the middle of a situation. It's like having a pre-programmed wise response ready.
That's precisely their purpose. They act as mental shortcuts, guiding you towards more thoughtful decisions based on your past selves experiences. Now, a word of caution. It's easy to get lost in the details or to become overly critical. Remember, the goal is not to judge your past self, but to learn from them. Approach your journal entries with compassion and curiosity.
That's a really important point. It's easy to fall into a trap of self-criticism rather than self-improvement.
Absolutely. So, to recap our journey today, we've moved from simply recording to actively analyzing our journal entries. We've discussed the importance of a detective's mindset for identifying recurring themes and emotions, of asking probing questions to understand the why behind our actions, and of finding silver linings even in difficult experiences. We've also highlighted the power of consistency in our review process and the creation of personal wisdom anchors for practical application.
It really emphasizes that a journal is more than just a diary. It's a tool for active self-discovery and profound wisdom gathering. By rereading, asking questions, and looking for patterns, we transform raw experience into actionable insight.
Indeed, the journal becomes a mirror, reflecting not just what happened, but what it means and how we can grow. Remember, the wisdom collector doesn't just gather facts, they gather understanding. And your journal is your personal archive of that understanding.
So, to summarize what we've covered in these 2 episodes on journaling, first, we learn the importance of consistent writing, capturing thoughts, feelings, and events. Then, today, we explored how to reread those entries with an analytical eye, identify patterns and recurring themes, ask deep questions to understand causes, look for lessons even in challenges, create concise wisdom anchors, and approach the whole process with self-compassion.
Well said. You've truly embraced the wisdom of the journal. Next episode, the proverbial compass.
Looking forward to it.
Welcome back to the Wisdom Collector. Last time, we dove deep into the practice of keeping a journal, exploring how to capture our experiences and insights. Today, we're navigating towards a different kind of concentrated wisdom, the proverb. Are you ready to find our proverbial compass?
Absolutely, Alex. Proverbs, those short, memorable sayings, feel like little time capsules of human experience. They've been around forever, passed down through generations. What makes them so enduring?
That's a fantastic question, Lisa. It all comes down to their essence. Proverbs are distilled wisdom. They take complex truths about life, human nature, and morality and boil them down into a simple, often poetic phrase. Think of them as the ultimate life hacks, designed for easy recall and transmission.
Life hacks. I like that. So, it's not just about old sayings, it's about practical advice that has proven its worth over centuries. But sometimes their meaning isn't immediately obvious. A stitch in time saves 9, for instance. What does that truly mean beyond sewing a ripped garment?
Excellent example. That proverb's literal meaning is about sowing. but its true power lies in its metaphorical application. It's advising us that addressing a small problem immediately can prevent it from becoming a much larger, more difficult problem later on. Imagine a tiny leak in your roof. If you fix it right away, that's your stitch in time. You prevent a small, easy repair. If you ignore it, that tiny leak can lead to water damage, mold, and a massive, expensive repair job. That's the 9 stitches you saved yourself from.
So, it's about foresight and preventative action. It encourages us to be proactive rather than reactive. That's a powerful lesson for anything from personal relationships to professional projects.
Exactly. And this universality is key to why proverbs resonate across cultures and time. Consider the proverb, the early bird catches the worm. What does this tell us?
It's about diligence and seizing opportunities, right? If you're the first one up, the first one to act, you're more likely to get the best results or the prime opportunity before anyone else does. It rewards initiative.
Precisely. And you'll find variations of that sentiment in languages all over the world. Whether it's stated as the early bird, the first one, or the diligent one, the underlying principle of gaining an advantage through prompt action is the same. This universality suggests that certain human experiences and observations are fundamental, regardless of our specific circumstances.
It's like they tap into a shared human consciousness. Are there any core themes you see recurring in Proverbs across different cultures?
Oh, absolutely. One major theme is the importance of moderation and balance. Proverbs often warn against extremes. Think of the idea that too much of a good thing can be bad, or that straying too far from the middle path leads to trouble.
Like the Greek saying, nothing in excess.
That's a perfect illustration. Or consider proverbs that emphasize the importance of patience and perseverance. Rome wasn't built in a day is a classic. It reminds us that great achievements require time, effort, and a sustained commitment. It combats the modern urge for instant gratification.
I see. So we have Proverbs about taking action, about balance, and about lasting effort. What else?
Another significant category deals with the consequences of our actions, especially regarding words and relationships. Proverbs caution us about the power of speech. The tongue is a fire, a world of unrighteousness. Or the simpler, think before you speak. They highlight how easily words can cause harm and how important it is to be mindful of what we say.
That's so true. Words can build up or tear down. And the flip side of that is the importance of listening. I recall a proverb that goes something like, nature gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak.
A wonderful insight, and that speaks to the importance of understanding before being understood, a cornerstone of effective communication. So, we've identified proverbs about initiative, moderation, patience, and the power of speech. We can even add proverbs about the value of hard work and the dangers of laziness. The hand of the diligent will rule, but the lazy man will be put to forced labor, for example.
It's fascinating how these short phrases encapsulate so much practical wisdom. But how do we, as modern individuals seeking to collect wisdom, actively use Proverbs? Just knowing them isn't enough, isn't it?
Not at all. The true value comes in interpretation and application. First, when you encounter a proverb, don't just accept it at face value. Question it. What is the deeper meaning? What situation is this proverb describing? What principle is it trying to teach? This is where your critical thinking comes into play.
And then, how do we apply it? If I'm facing a problem and I remember a relevant proverb, what's the next step?
You use it as a guiding principle. For example, if you're procrastinating on a difficult task and you recall a stitch in time saves 9, it serves as a mental nudge to tackle that task now, even if it's unpleasant. Or if you're feeling overwhelmed by choices, you might remember nothing in excess to help you simplify and focus. The proverb acts as a filter or a compass, helping you navigate towards a wiser course of action.
So, it's about actively bringing that wisdom to bear on our present circumstances. It's not just collecting sayings, it's about living by them. And I suppose the more you actively use them, the more they become integrated into your thinking.
Precisely. They become mental shortcuts to sound judgment. And remember our previous discussions about journaling? Your journal can be an excellent place to not only record proverbs you encounter, but also to reflect on how you've applied them, or how you could have applied them in specific situations. You can document the before and after of applying proverbial wisdom.
That's a brilliant connection. So, we're using our journals to process and reinforce the wisdom we're gathering from these proverbs. It makes the abstract concept of a proverb much more concrete and actionable. It turns passive knowledge into active wisdom.
Exactly. And as we've seen, proverbs are like lenses through which we can view life's challenges and opportunities. They offer perspective and guidance. They are the distilled essence of human experience, serving as a reliable compass for decision making.
So, to recap our journey with the proverbial compass today, we've explored how proverbs are condensed wisdom, distilled truths that have stood the test of time. We've looked at the universality of themes like initiative, moderation, patience, and the power of our words. And crucially, we've discussed how to move beyond simply knowing proverbs to actively interpreting and applying them in our daily lives, using our journals as a tool to solidify this practice.
Well said, Lisa. And what's next on our path as wisdom collectors? We've been gathering insights from various sources, our experiences, our reflections, and now the timeless wisdom of Proverbs. It's time to start truly organizing and building our own internal reservoir of knowledge.
That sounds like the perfect next step. We're moving from gathering to constructing.
Indeed. So, next episode, we'll be diving into weaving your wisdom library.
Looking forward to it.
Welcome back to the Wisdom Collector. We're weaving your wisdom library today.
We certainly have, Alex. It feels like we've accumulated quite a treasure trove of wisdom.
Exactly. And just like any great collection, the real magic happens when you organize it. Think about a physical library. If all the books were just piled in a heap, it would be hard to find anything, right? Our personal wisdom needs that same kind of structure.
That makes so much sense. So, how do we begin to weave this library of wisdom that we've been building? What's our first step?
Our first step is to understand the purpose of this library. It's not just about hoarding knowledge. It's about making that knowledge accessible and actionable. We want to be able to draw on our collected wisdom quickly and effectively when we need it. So, we need ways to categorize and retrieve information.
Accessible and actionable. I like that. It's like creating a personal search engine for our own life experiences.
Precisely. Now, let's think about the types of wisdom we've been gathering. We've talked about lessons learned from our own failures, insights from different cultures, observations, and even proverbs. These are all distinct threads.
Right. So, can we start by creating broad categories for these threads? For example, maybe personal growth, interpersonal skills, understanding the world, and problem solving.
That's a fantastic start, Lisa. Those are excellent foundational categories. Let's elaborate on those a little. Under personal growth, you might put lessons about discipline, resilience, and self-awareness. Things we've learned about ourselves through direct experience or reflection.
And interpersonal skills would cover how to communicate effectively, build relationships, and understand different perspectives, especially from that tapestry of cultures we explored.
Perfect. Understanding the world could encompass historical lessons, societal trends, and the natural world, essentially broadening our external awareness. And problem solving would be about strategies, critical thinking, and decision-making frameworks.
So, we have our main sections. But how do we ensure we're not just creating a list? How do we make it truly weave together?
This is where the weaving comes in. Within each category, We can use subcategories or tags. For instance, within personal growth, you might have a subcategory for resilience. And under that, you could have specific entries, perhaps a journal entry about overcoming a past challenge, a powerful quote on perseverance, or a specific technique you found helpful.
Ah, I see. So it's not just one big bucket. It's like having shelves and then dividers on those shelves and then individual books or notes.
Exactly. And to make it even more powerful, we can use cross-referencing. Remember when we discussed the proverbial compass? Many proverbs might relate to multiple categories. A proverb about patience could fit in personal growth and also in problem solving.
So we could tag or note in one entry that it also relates to another concept. That's brilliant. It shows how interconnected wisdom really is.
It absolutely is. Another technique to make this library navigable is creating anchor points. These are concise summaries or key takeaways that represent larger bodies of wisdom. For example, you might have an anchor point for the importance of active listening, which then links to all your notes on communication, empathy, and conflict resolution.
These anchor points sound like the chapter headings or index entries of our personal wisdom book. They give us a quick way to find what we need.
Yes, exactly. And think about the methods we've discussed. Journals, observation notes, summarizations of books or podcasts, even conversations. We need a consistent way to record these entries so they fit into our library structure.
So, when I'm making a new entry, I should be thinking about which category it fits into, what specific subtopics are relevant, and potentially any other related wisdom it connects with.
That's the process. And it doesn't have to be overly rigid. Your wisdom library is a living, breathing entity. As you encounter new situations and gather new insights, you'll refine and expand. It's a personal system, so it needs to work for you.
What if someone finds it overwhelming to set up? It sounds like a lot of work.
That's a very relatable concern. The key is to start small. Don't try to categorize everything overnight. Pick one or two major categories that resonate with you most right now and start there. Perhaps it's lessons from failure or understanding others. Gradually, as you gather more, you can expand your categories and subcategories.
So, progression is key. Small steps lead to a comprehensive whole.
Precisely. And remember, the goal is not perfection, but accessibility. If you can find the wisdom you need in a moment of decision or reflection, your library is a success. Imagine this. You're facing a tricky situation, and you can quickly recall a similar experience you've documented, along with the lesson you learned. That's the power of a well-woven wisdom library.
It's about transforming raw experience into usable knowledge, a personal guide for navigating life.
Exactly. And this is where we start to see the apply powerfully part of our series title truly come alive. We've collected the wisdom, and now we're organizing it so we can actually use it to make better decisions, understand ourselves and others more deeply, and ultimately live a more fulfilling life.
So, to recap what we've discussed, weaving our wisdom library involves creating broad categories based on the types of insights we've gathered, like personal growth or interpersonal skills. Then, we use subcategories and tags for more granular organization. Cross-referencing helps connect disparate pieces of wisdom, and anchor points provide quick access to key concepts. Starting small and letting the library evolve organically are crucial for making this process manageable and effective.
That's a perfect summary, Lisa. Our wisdom library is our personal roadmap, built from the fragments of our accumulated understanding. Next episode, applying wisdom to daily decisions.
That sounds incredibly practical. We're moving from collection to application, which is so exciting. Join us for episode 11, where we'll be discussing applying wisdom to daily decisions.
Welcome back to the Wisdom Collector, Episode 11 is about applying wisdom to daily decisions.
It's about making our collected wisdom practical. How do we actually use the lessons we've gathered?
Exactly. It's easy to amass insights, but putting them into action in real time is the challenge. Let's start with the small stuff. How can wisdom guide our minor daily decisions?
I think it begins with noticing opportunities. We often act on autopilot for small choices. Wisdom can be a gentle prompt to pause. For instance, before sending a sharp email, a recalled lesson about mindful communication might encourage you to rephrase or reconsider.
That's a great point. It's about building small habits of reflection. For these minor decisions, the key is recognizing when you can apply a piece of wisdom. Think of it like having a mini toolkit. If a situation calls for patience, you grab that tool. If it requires checking facts, you use that one.
And that toolkit is your wisdom library. The more you have, the better prepared you are. A difficult email situation might remind you of a journal entry about past impulsive reactions, helping you choose a different approach this time. It's about using past insights.
That's active recall. It helps to mentally categorize your wisdom, like communication, time management, or emotions. When a small decision arises, you can scan these categories. This is about time. What wisdom do I have on managing time?
That adds structure. So for small things, it's about consciously using relevant insights. But what about the big decisions, Alex? The life-altering ones like career changes or relationships. How does collected wisdom help there?
Big decisions require a deeper synthesis. You'll often have multiple relevant pieces of wisdom. Remember when we discussed weaving your wisdom library? Big choices demand that kind of integration.
So, instead of one tool, you're looking at how multiple tools can work together. For a career change, you might consider wisdom about embracing change, assessing risks, seeking advice, and aligning actions with your values.
Precisely. This is where remembering earlier episodes is crucial. Timeless principles, like those from the Elders' Echo, are vital for big decisions. What has humanity learned about navigating major life shifts? This wisdom provides a perspective that goes beyond immediate feelings.
It's like having a wise advisor built from all your gathered knowledge. You can create a decision-making process. First, identify the main question. Then brainstorm relevant wisdom, proverbs, life lessons, insights.
Then, critically, reflect on how each piece of wisdom applies. Does a proverb address your specific risks? Does a journaled lesson offer a way forward? This isn't blind obedience. It's using wisdom as a lens for your options.
It builds informed intuition. Your intuition remains yours, but it's enriched by knowledge and experience. You're not guessing, you're making choices based on principles and potential outcomes drawn from your wisdom.
And let's not forget failure from episode 4. Wisdom often stems from mistakes. Reflecting on past failures, perhaps noted in your journal, can offer huge clarity for big decisions. What did you learn from a risk that didn't work out? That learning is wisdom.
So, for big decisions, identify the question, gather and document relevant wisdom, analyze how it informs your options, consider lessons from past failures, and use this understanding to guide your choice. It's more deliberate than picking the easiest immediate option.
Yes, it requires introspection. It's asking, what's the wisest path, not just the easiest? It's about aligning actions with a deeper life understanding. This is the difference between reacting and responding. Wisdom helps us move from impulsive reaction to thoughtful response.
That's a key distinction. Reacting is often emotional or pressured. Responding is a considered action based on knowledge and principles. Our collected wisdom forms the bedrock of that informed response.
Think of wisdom as your internal compass. For small decisions, it offers minor course corrections. For major ones, it helps set your true north. The more you use this compass, the more natural it becomes.
So, the main point today is that collecting wisdom is only part of the process. The real power is in applying it. We can start with small, conscious applications daily and build up to using wisdom as a framework for our biggest choices. It's about integrating those insights into our actions.
Well said, Lisa. It's moving from gathering knowledge to making wise decisions. Next time, we'll explore wisdom in times of challenge, looking at how our collected wisdom can be our greatest asset when life gets tough.
That sounds crucial. Until then, keep collecting and more importantly, keep applying.
Thanks for listening. Welcome back to the Wisdom Collector. Last time, we explored applying wisdom to daily decisions. Now let's see how it guides us through challenges.
Life throws curveballs, and it's easy to feel lost. I'm eager to hear how our wisdom can be a guiding force.
Think about the wisdom we've discussed, lessons from success and failure, observations, journaling. In a challenge, this isn't just abstract knowledge. It becomes your toolkit, your inner compass.
So, it's not having all answers, but a framework to find them?
Precisely. When challenged, emotions like fear and anxiety can cloud judgment. Your collected wisdom acts as an anchor. Remember that quiet voice of experience? It gets louder when cultivated.
That's a great reminder. For someone facing a tough decision now, what's the first step to using their wisdom collection?
Mindfulness. Pause. Acknowledge the challenge and your emotional state. Then tap into your wisdom library. Ask yourself, have I faced something like this before? Or what key learnings came from similar past decisions? This means recalling journal entries, observations, and reflections.
It's like flipping through mental flashcards. But what if the challenge feels entirely new?
Draw on the wisdom of others. Think about tales of resilience from history, philosophical insights, or advice from mentors. Your collection includes humanity's collective experience.
So, connecting dots between our journey and the broader human experience. Knowing others have overcome similar struggles offers comfort and clarity.
Exactly. Journaling is invaluable here. Documenting your thought processes, fears, and resolutions gives you a direct reference. You can see your patterns of strength and successful strategies. Revisiting these records allows you to apply tested solutions.
It's like a personal case study for life events. My journal shows what I did, thought, and the result. That's powerful under pressure.
It builds resilience. Every time you navigate a challenge with your wisdom, you reinforce your capacity to handle future adversity. This creates a positive feedback loop. The more you rely on your inner wisdom, the stronger it becomes. It's about developing self-efficacy.
So, resilience isn't just innate. It's cultivated through practice and using our gathered wisdom.
Precisely. When making tough choices, this wisdom guides you. It helps weigh options not just for immediate outcomes, but for alignment with your values and long-term goals. In challenging times, that compass is essential for staying on course.
That makes sense. When facing a difficult decision, consult your wisdom. What aligns with values? What supports long-term well-being? What have I learned about consequences of impulsive versus considered actions?
And critically, this avoids analysis paralysis. With a solid wisdom foundation, you're more likely to decide and move forward. Your collection helps identify key factors, enabling decisive action.
To recap, facing challenges, pause and acknowledge emotions. Actively draw on your wisdom library, recall past lessons, collective experience, consult your journal, and use core principles as a compass. This solves the immediate problem and builds resilience.
That's a perfect summary. The wisdom collector wields knowledge powerfully when it matters most. These difficult moments are opportunities to live by the wisdom we've collected. Our collected wisdom becomes an active, guiding force.
Transforming knowledge into power, wisdom into resilience. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you, Lisa. And for our listeners, every challenge is a chance to strengthen your wisdom. Keep collecting, reflecting, and applying.
Next episode, the legacy of the collector.
Welcome back to The Wisdom Collector. This is the final episode, number 13.
It's hard to believe we've reached the end of our series. We've journeyed through so many powerful ways to gather wisdom, from its seeds to failure, observation, and keeping a journal.
Absolutely, Lisa. We've explored how cultures and individuals have collected and applied wisdom, and the importance of observation and reflection. Today, we're tying it all together and thinking about the future.
So, what does the legacy of the collector mean? Is it just about hoarding knowledge?
Not all. It's about the ongoing journey, the continuous practice. Wisdom isn't a destination, it's a lifelong pursuit. The legacy is in becoming a perpetual wisdom seeker. You've built a personal library of lessons learned and insights gained.
And that personal library isn't just for ourselves, is it?
Exactly. The true legacy comes when that collected wisdom begins to shape not only your own life, but also influences those around you. It's about embodying the principles you've learned. When you make decisions with clarity, approach challenges with resilience, and offer insightful perspectives, that's the wisdom in action.
So, it's about living the wisdom we collect? Like when we talked about the proverb or the art of observation, those aren't just for knowing, but for doing.
Precisely. Remember prior discussions on observation and guidance? Those were about actively engaging with the world and using collected wisdom as a guide. The legacy is in continuing that engagement, always observing, always learning, and always using that broader understanding to inform your actions.
And this also relates back to reflecting on our experiences through journaling. That act of writing down lessons learned, moments of insight, even our failures. That's the direct recording of the seeds of our personal wisdom library.
Yes, the journal is the tangible record of your wisdom collection. And the legacy is in continuing to fill those pages, but also in revisiting them. It's like coming back to your personal history of learning. You see how far you've come and reinforce those crucial lessons.
It sounds like the legacy is also about building a richer, more meaningful life for ourselves day by day.
Absolutely. The ultimate power of collecting wisdom is its transformative effect. It's not just about having knowledge. It's about how that knowledge reshapes your perspective, your reactions, and your understanding of the world. This series has armed you with tools and concepts to become that transformed individual.
And what about passing on that wisdom? Can we actively contribute to the wisdom of others?
That's a beautiful extension of the legacy. While you can't directly transfer your collected wisdom, you can certainly share your insights, your experiences, and your approach to learning. This could be through conversations, through simply being an example of thoughtful living. Think about how our ancestors passed down stories and proverbs. That was a way of sharing collected wisdom.
So, if you've been diligently keeping a wisdom journal, perhaps you could share a particularly impactful lesson with a friend or family member who's facing a similar situation. Or talk about a cultural insight you learned and how it changed your thinking.
Exactly. It's about contributing to the collective understanding in your own sphere of influence. And the more you practice applying and sharing, the more natural it becomes. The collector's legacy isn't about grand pronouncements. It's often in the quiet, consistent application and sharing of what you've learned.
It feels like a call to continue. This isn't an endpoint, but a strong foundation for what comes next.
That's precisely the point. The wisdom collector never truly retires. The world is always offering new lessons, new challenges, new perspectives. The legacy is in the commitment to remain curious, to remain open, and to continue building that rich inner library. It's about becoming a lifelong student of life.
What are the key takeaways you'd want us to remember from the entire series as we wrap up?
If I had to condense it, I'd say, first, wisdom is everywhere, in our experiences, in history, in culture, in our failures. Second, collecting it is an active process. It requires intention, observation, and reflection, often captured in a journal. Third, the power lies in application. Use your collected wisdom to make better decisions and navigate life more effectively. And finally, the legacy is in the continuous pursuit of learning and, where appropriate, sharing that illuminated path with others.
A lifelong student of life, always collecting, always applying, always growing. That's a powerful way to move forward. I feel inspired to keep practicing everything we've discussed.
And that's the ultimate goal, Lisa. This series has been about equipping you with the mindset and the methods. The real work and the real legacy is in your hands now. Keep collecting that wisdom, keep applying it, and let it shape a richer, more meaningful journey.
It's been an incredible journey exploring this with you, Alex. Thank you to all our listeners for joining us for The Wisdom Collector.
Thanks for listening to the series.